Welcome to Rusty Rails Rail Fanning Adventure. On today's Rail Fanning Adventure, we take a walk around the North Carolina Transportation Museum, starting off with Barber's Junction.
It's a long, long way to the other side. Oh, way to make your journey on the midnight line. Well, we pulled in to the station, and I looked all around. Well, my baby's gone to a...
Barber Junction was built in 1898. The Barber Junction Depot was located 12 miles to the west in rural Rowan County, connecting the Western North Carolina Railroad from Salisbury to Asheville, and the North Carolina Midland Railroad from Charlotte to Winston-Salem. The depot was used to transfer as a transfer point for both passengers and express freight on the Southern Railway trains. Towns and cities across North Carolina and the United States built their communities around railroad depots due to the convenience of railroad access. Mail arrived at the station via the railway post office cars, while cargo and packages would be processed by railway express agencies. Railroads also used the depot as a means of communication when train crews and processing paperwork. Barber Junction Depot served this purpose for its community until the 1970s. At the Barber Junction Depot, you can buy your ticket for the train ride here at the North Carolina Transportation Museum, along with your admission to the rest of the museum. Now let's start our tour of the North Carolina Transportation Museum. Mind their dust as they're currently rebuilding the deck at the Barbers Junction Depot. If you've liked what you've seen so far, please give the video a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell to be notified about future uploads. Also, join our Discord. Link is down in the description down below, and channel memberships are now active. You can join by the join button or the link in the description down below. Some of the perks of becoming a member are early access to new videos. And we hope to see you along with the Rusty Rails crew real soon. The first building we will be taking a look at will be the back shop. The back shop. As Spencer shops grew, the need for a larger, heavy repair building arose. The back shop was designed by master mechanic S.R. Richard in 1904. The construction began later that year and was completed in January of 1905. The back shop was the largest industrial structure in North Carolina. FYI, a back shop and an erecting shop are two different types of buildings. A erecting shop would have meant that new steam locomotives were built in the building, which never occurred in Spencer on rebuilt engines. The name back shop refers to a 19th century saying, taking the engine out back, describing the location for heavy repairs which normally took place behind the roundhouse, and also because it was located behind the 15-stall roundhouse that was here at the time. The back shop is 200 yards long and 50 yards wide, the equivalent to 2 football fields. The building originally had 4 tracks entering from the south end, narrowing to 2 inside the building. The mezzanine level contained the machine shop, where steam locomotive parts were made. Up to 15 steam locomotives could be in the back shop at any given time, but at least one locomotive had to be returned to service each day, as required by Southern Railway. The back shop was reworked during the 1940s and early 1950s to overhaul and rebuild diesel locomotives. The building closed in 1960, with locomotive repairs moving to Chattanooga, Tennessee, and Atlanta, Georgia. Now let's enter the back shop. Inside the back shop they have vintage automobiles, an airplane that's getting restored, and a few train cars along with a steam locomotive. We're going to start off with some of the antique cars. Now you may be wondering what that box up in the air with stairs leading to it is. Well, that was where the Spencer shop employees' restrooms were. But during the time that the Spencer shops were active, it was a segregated restroom. They had 9 toilets up there, 3 of them for blacks only, and the rest were for whites only. Kinda unfair, even though there was another one about 100 feet further down. The next little section of the back shop is full of old horse wagons. And here's some more old automobiles. And here are some Native American dugout canoes. Here is a little preview of the steam locomotive that's in the back shop. Locomotive 1031, an Atlantic Coastline locomotive. We'll be getting a little bit closer to 1031 a little later. The next piece of rail equipment that's behind Locomotive 1031 is James B. Duke's private rail car, the Doris. And here's a few airplanes that have been restored at the North Carolina Transportation Museum. Here's the actual fuselage of the airplane that is being currently restored at the North Carolina Transportation Museum, a DC-3.
Piedmont Airlines purchased the airplane, now redesignated as a commercial DC-3.
Next up are some North Carolina State Trooper and Sheriff's vehicles, followed by some firefighting equipment. This is what the North Carolina Transportation Museum back shop looked like. This back section of the back shop towards the tracks is full of all different types of tractor trailers. over on the right side are a few tractors. Well, that's about it for inside the back shop. Let's head on to the next building, which will be the Roundhouse. Normally where that door is on the Roundhouse, you'll be able to enter it. But right now, they're going through a roof renovation of the Roundhouse. So the first section is currently closed to the public, but the rest of the Roundhouse is open. So let's head on down the path and we'll get to the Roundhouse entrance. Outside the Roundhouse on display is Atlantic Coastline locomotive number 501, the Champion. If you've liked what you've seen so far, please give the video a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell to be notified about future uploads. Also, join our Discord. Link is down in the description down below, and channel memberships are now active. You can join by the join button or the link in the description down below. Some of the perks of becoming a member are early access to new videos. And we hope to see you along with the Rusty Rails crew really soon. The roundhouse. As Spencer shops expanded in the 1920s, the need for a larger roundhouse became critical. Built in 1924, the Bob Julian Roundhouse replaced the 15-stall roundhouse, which had served the site since 1896. The new roundhouse had 37 stalls and a 100-foot turntable. The roundhouse was primarily used for light repairs to steam engines, most of which would take place in 3 days or less. Each stall was 106 feet in length, providing plenty of room for Southern Railway's largest steam locomotives. Switching locomotives were repaired in the first few stalls, followed by passenger locomotives, and then the freight locomotives. Drop pits were installed to drop pony truck wheels, locomotive drivers, and trailing truck wheel sets. The roundhouse was named after Robert Bob Julian, a longtime roundhouse foreman, and was the only named roundhouse on the Southern Railway system. Following dieselization in the 1940s, the roundhouse was modified with wooden platforms in order to make repair to the diesel locomotives. The roundhouse, along with the diesel refueling area and classification yard, continued to serve the Southern Railway until 1979. They had the exhaust fans on in the roundhouse in this section, as they were also doing a little bit of roof work over here.
Sure that what kind of meat in front of me, very good. And then I would make up 5 trains. One would go to New Orleans in Texas. One would go to Atlanta and the West Coast. One would go to
sacrifice each of us during the final correspondence of our great nation comes darkness, deluge, or disaster.
The only locomotive I've not seen operate here at the North Carolina Transportation Museum is sitting right there, number 6900. If you've liked what you've seen so far, please give the video a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell to be notified about future uploads. Also, join our Discord. Link is down in the description down below, and channel memberships are now active. You can join by the join button or the link in the description down below. Some of the perks of becoming a member are early access to new videos. And we hope to see you with the Rusty Rails crew really soon. On this tank right here is a motto to live by. Safety is a state of mind. The building we're actually heading to is one of the newer exhibits that has opened here at the North Carolina Transportation Museum, the Wheel Balancing Shed. It was used to balance steam locomotive driving wheels. This hopper car is one of the newer restorations for the railroad, part of the North Carolina Transportation Museum. It just recently got out of the paint shop. Now let's head on over to the flue shop. The Flue Shop. Constructed in 1924, the Flue Shop was completed just weeks after the Bob Julian Roundhouse. Workers took old tubes and flues from steam engines and renewed them through a process called safe ending, which made them serviceable again. Tubes and flues were located inside the boiler between the front and rear flue sheets, and conducted smoke and hot gases from the firebox to the smoke box. With a transfer to diesel operations, the flue shop became the primary location for locomotive electricians, who used the building to test newly repaired equipment and parts for storage. The Flue Shop now holds the Bumper to Bumper exhibit, an automobile exhibit ranging from a Stanley Steamer steam car all the way up to an electric vehicle. All the vehicles in the Bumper to Bumper exhibit are antique automobiles. This blue car in front of us is the electric vehicle. And across from the electric vehicle is the steam car. Now let's continue our journey down to the warehouse number 3. Unfortunately, we weren't allowed into the warehouse number 3 as it was closed. It's only open during special events. Warehouse number 3. Soon after the Southern Railway's purchase of 144 acres of northern Rowan County land in 1896, construction of Spencer Shops began at a rapid pace. As with any industrial facility, a building for storage was needed for parts and supplies. Shop workers erected warehouse number 3 in 1896. Towards the north end of the facility. The building was used for storage for some 50 years in that location. Between the late 1940s and early 1950s, the building was moved to its current location, between the Master Mechanic's office and the flue shop. Now let's head on down to the Master Mechanic's office, also known as the MMO. The Master Mechanic's office is home for the Gift Station, the North Carolina Transportation Museum's gift shop. The Master Mechanic's office. In order to add more office space for the growing Spencer Shops facility, construction of a Master Mechanic's office began in 1910 and was completed in 1911. The building was the center of business for the facility and included the office for the Master Mechanic. The Master Mechanic oversaw all repairs and overhauls of steam locomotives and diesel locomotives when they officially arrived. Offices for pay clerks, telephone operators, and administrative assistants were also included. The MMO served as the headquarters of the Southern Railway's Danville District, spanning from Spencer, North Carolina, to Monroe, Virginia. With offices located in the front half of the building, the rear half and basement were lined with shelves for parts and supplies, and served as a distribution center. Workers would bring tickets to the window lining the sides of the MMO to request needed parts. Service tracks ran along both sides of the building to unload incoming supplies. If you've liked what you've seen so far, please give the video a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell to be notified about future uploads. Also, join our Discord. Link is down in the description down below, and channel memberships are now active. You can join by the join button or the link in the description down below. Some of the perks of becoming a member are early access to new videos. And we hope to see you as part of the Rusty Rails crew really soon. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked what you saw. If you did, please give the video a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell to be notified about future uploads. Also, join our Discord. Link is down in the description down below. And channel memberships are now active. You can join by the join button or the link in the description down below. And we hope to see you along the rusty rails really soon.